Welcome everyone to another powerful live dialogue. Today we're diving into a conversation around discipline, identity, and purpose-driven growth. Our guest, Tes Oosthuizen, is on a mission to help women step into their power through a grounded and international approach to self-mastery. She represents a new wave of future founders, women who are not just building businesses, but building lives rooted in purpose, resilience, and impact. In this session, we'll explore her journey, the mindset behind her discipline, and how she navigates challenges while stepping boldly into leadership. Tess, it's such a pleasure to have you with us today. How are you, Tess?
I'm doing fine, thank you. And thank you for having me. It's absolute pleasure being with you guys and just sharing a little bit of my journey with you.
It's awesome to really have you on, and I really appreciate your mission. It's very rare to have people such as yourself.
Thank you. Yes, I must say my mission is something that I think it came a very long time ago, but in the last 2 to 3 years, I can really say it resonated with my heart. And from there, I was just starting to build on it.
Awesome. Tess, your message around helping women step into their power is so impactful. What was the defining moment in your life that made you fully commit to this mission, sorry.
I don't think it's one big defining moment. It was a series of quiet realizations. I realized a point where I felt I was showing up in my life, but not fully stepping into half my purpose. And that is where that resonated from. And then I realized that so many women are actually sitting in the same place as me. Yeah, they are capable, but they are holding back a bit. That is when things shifted for me. I stopped focusing on changing behavior only. I started focusing on identity, because once you change your mindset on how you see yourself, especially women, we're very critical on how we see ourselves. So when you change your mindset on how you see yourself, everything else changes around you, and then discipline starts to follow.
So it's more like a mindset type of thing.
Absolutely, yeah. Your identity, basically, if you think about it, that is something that you think of yourself. That is how you present yourself to people, how you walk into a room. And that is how you carry yourself. So definitely it's a mindset thing to see your potential, not just only a mind shift thing that I have to change a few things. You have to be intentional on how you see yourself. Where do you want to go? What do I want to achieve? Or what can I achieve? Because us as women, I think we limit ourselves, especially within the corporate sector, and especially in ourselves as well, being a mom, being a woman. So we just have to be not so, if I can say it, narrow-minded and get tunnel vision. We have to broaden our spectrum of what we can achieve as women.
Awesome. You speak about being faith-led in discipline. How do you practically integrate faith into your daily routines and decision-making as an entrepreneur?
Okay, for me, being faith-led is about alignment before action. It looks like starting your day either with prayer, reflection, something, creating a quiet space before you start your day just to reset. And when I make those decisions, I ask myself normally, does it align with who I am becoming, or is it just how I'm feeling in that moment? So it helps me stay grounded and consistent at the same time, even when things feel a little bit uncertain, because everything is not like an open plan for us. Some things are very uncertain, and then we have to just adapt that mentality of this is who I am, this is who I want to become, this is how I'm going to achieve it.
Many people struggle with consistency. What does discipline look like for you on the days when motivation is low?
On those days, I don't rely on motivation. I rely on my standards. So the version of me that I'm committed to becoming, it shows up whether I feel angry, it shows up whether I feel not motivated, it shows up when I'm having a bad day, You need to have that commitment to yourself to say, I'm still going to do it. I do it anyways. Never mind what my circumstances are at that point. Discipline for me is about not breaking that agreement that you have with yourself. So when you see yourself as a different version of how you normally would see yourself, and you change your mindset around that, and you start implementing certain habits within your life, that discipline and that agreement that you have with yourself, you cannot break that.
Awesome. As a future founder, how do you balance vision with action, especially when building something that doesn't yet fully exist?
I keep it simple. I zoom out of that vision, but I still execute daily. And that is the thing. A lot of people wait for clarity before action. But clarity actually comes with movement. So I focus on the next step, not the entire picture. You build something that doesn't exist by acting like it already does throughout consistency.
Would you mind actually like giving an example to that?
Um, for instance, when I started this journey, I was 38 kilograms
Oh,
overweight. I was
oh,
obese at that point. So when I started adopting the identity of I need to get healthier for my kids, I want to have a longer lifespan, I want to have time longer with them. I had to adopt this vision of myself in 2 years' time, where I want to be and how I'm going to achieve that. But I didn't just focus on that picture, how I see myself. I focus on the daily consistency, making sure I get in the nutrition my body needs, that's healthy nutrition, getting to the gym every single day, and making sure that all of those boxes are still ticked. So if you focus just on your end result the entire time, you're going to forget half your small little habits that you started to create. And that is the thing. That's consistency, that's making a decision, and that is how you're going to follow those small little steps to achieve whatever you need to achieve in 2 or 5 years' time.
awesome. What are some of the biggest internal battles you've had to overcome while stepping into your own power?
Definitely self-doubt and overthinking was big ones for me. Also the fear of not being ready and misunderstood sometimes. But I've learned that growth requires you to move before you feel confident. And that's definitely one thing. Because if I can just use the gym example again, for a person that's never been into the gym, that's been overweight, going into the gym, you feel uncomfortable. You don't know what you're doing. You think people are looking at you, but actually, that is the first step. That is the first step of you stepping into your identity, who you want to become. And you don't wait to become ready. You actually become ready by doing it daily.
Awesome. How do you help women shift from self-doubt to self-leadership in a world that often conditions led them to play small?
I help shift our identity. And I think that is my focus point, especially on women. Most women try to build confidence from the outside in.
Mm.
I shifted that. We need to build it from the inside out. So when you change on how you see yourself, your decisions, your standards, your boundaries starts to change naturally. It comes naturally to you then. So self-leadership begins when you stop asking, what do you feel like doing? Versus what do I need to do to become that person that I said I am becoming?
Entrepreneurship can feel lonely at times. How has your faith guided you through uncertainty and moments of isolation?
Mm, that can definitely be a little bit isolating at sometimes. Faith has been an anchor in those moments for me. It reminds me that my purpose is a process, even when things feel uncertain. It also teaches me patience. So, not every season is meant to be comfortable. We don't grow when we're comfortable. We only grow when we're uncomfortable and stuff. So, and not everything is meant to happen quickly. So for me, if I just look back on my gym journey again, it wasn't a quick process. It was a process between 2 to 3 years before I got where I am now.
So, in a nutshell, it's all about embracing challenges. It's not about ducking them, if I can take what from what you're saying there.
Absolutely. So it's definitely by accepting. Sorry, I just want to put this down.
No problem.
Apologies for that.
No problem.
So yeah, it's definitely shifting your mindset around the identity, who you want to become, and then changing small habits, how you're going to grow into that.
Awesome. What habits or mindset shifts would you say are non-negotiable for anyone wanting to grow into their highest potential?
Consistency, self-respect, and discipline is a non-negotiable. So also learning your daily gratifications. So learning on delaying certain gratifications, that's a good thing, because instant gratification, it's only instant now. But if you get gratification over a certain period of time, that is when you grow. So because growth doesn't always feel, you don't feel it in a moment, you feel it afterwards. And one of the biggest ones, keeping a promise to yourself, that builds internal trust with yourself. And also that trust changes everything. It changes everything from how you see yourself, what you're going to negotiate on, and also who you surround yourself with.
Looking at your journey so far, what has been your biggest lesson about people versus pressure? About purpose versus pressure.
So purpose for me is feeling steady. Pressure is urgent. So if you just think about the two, when you have a purpose, you do feel steady. There's a lot of clarity in it for you. When you feel pressure, that's urgency. So I've learned that not every opportunity is aligned. And just because something looks good, it doesn't mean it is right. So when you're rooted in purpose, that then you move with clarity. But when you are driven by pressure, that comes from fear.
The key around it is to compartmentalize things in terms of looking at which things are more important than others. So am I maybe making it too simplistic?
Just repeat your question again. You were breaking up there a little bit.
Oh no, I was asking, is it easier to in a way compartmentalize things in terms of putting this part A into things that are more important than others? Because sometimes people try and put everything into one box, you know.
Definitely, definitely. So, and I think it's not just in your personal growth. That actually is something that stretches over corporate, whether you in corporate, whether it's logistics with your kids, being a mom, running around, getting the house sorted out. So there is a fine line between urgent and important. So you need to go and decide for yourself when you need to do something, what is urgent and what is important and what can wait.
All right, I'll get to my final question and then to the comments. For someone watching this who feels stuck or unsure of their next step, what is one powerful, faith-driven action they can take today to start moving forward?
Is to start small, but it's also to start intentionally when you do something. So for me, it was choosing one action today that they can align with for the person they want to become. And even when you don't feel ready, that is like one step closer to where you were yesterday. And action builds momentum builds belief, and that's definitely one thing that I do believe in, like 110%. You need to move to build belief, and you don't have to figure everything out all at once. It's like one step at a time. You just need to start.
Awesome. Now I'll get to the comments. Yeah, the first one here is from Jitin Rishka. Hi, Tess. Thank you for being active and motivating. What would your advice be rebellious youth?
So that's a difficult one. I think just depending on what a situation is also. It's a difficult one to answer, but my go-to always for that is you need to lead by example.
Mm,
Because that is definitely what your children are going to follow. They might
mm,
not see it now. They might vary off the path now, and you try your very best to push them back in. But you need to create that safe space for them whenever they are going off the path. They need to know where to come back to. And that's the only way I think for myself as a mom, I've got a 17-year-old, that I can half say that would be my advice, because it's difficult being a mom. It's difficult being in certain circumstances with kids where they test the boundaries. They do stuff that they don't necessarily you want them to do, because you could see the
mm.
outcome. They are not seeing it at the moment. So the best advice I would give is lead by example, number one. Number two is make a safe space for them. Whenever they feel necessary, they need to go to someone. They know they can come to you.
That's really beautiful advice, and I always admire moms and all that because I can never put myself in that position.
Mm.
Okay, all I gotta say is that, Chess, thanks so much for your time. It was great, and I hope to have you again in the future.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for having me. It was an absolute pleasure chatting with you guys. And yeah, looking forward to many more of these.
Thank you.
Thanks.